Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is December 20th, 2025. This is episode 172. I was going to do this episode yesterday, but things got in the way. I haven't done a program in a couple of days. I've been sick. Like I said, this is an ongoing crisis, but what can you do? A special shout out to Scott Adams. Scott Adams has a podcast, of course. He is in the hospital, and his exploits of going through his medical situation is well known. And for you people that don't know who Scott Adams is, he is the creator of Dilbert. And you could find him on Yahoo, find him in a lot of places. He does a great podcast. As a matter of fact, he's so dedicated, he's doing one from a hospital bed as we speak. So if you don't want to watch me, go watch him. You'll learn something. Smart guy. All right. Excuse me. Today we're going to talk about the Wisconsin judge who was found guilty. Little blurb on Dan Bongino. The Omar and Walsh scandals that is just taking off and running all over the place. Elise Stefanik asked the governor Hochul to release data. We'll get into that. California gas is all but gone. And we'll be talking about some ivermectin COVID studies and the Georgia election scandal. So, anyone that thought that there was no facts or truth to the stolen election of 2020, you're being proved wrong. There is plenty of facts, and it's coming out. Georgia is just one of them that they were able to dig into and find information. So it's getting there. Okay, Wisconsin judge found guilty of obstruction after just 6 hours of deliberations dragging into the night. So they got in the afternoon and they went into the night. A jury returned a split verdict against Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Duggan. This is an extraordinary event to happen to a sitting judge. She faces up to 5 years in prison for obstruction. The more serious of the charges, though first-time offenders rarely receive the harshest penalty. Well, they put Martha Stewart in jail for 6 months because they said she deceived an agent. Not lied, deceived. Misled them in an attempt. Never found guilty of a crime. Sent to prison. She's been found guilty. Send her. Take her license from her. Get her out of there. What a stupid judge to do what she did. And even other judges sitting there going, that was stupid. That was stupid. And there was no defense against it. There was no defense. They had witnesses. They saw her. She admitted. So, let's see her go off to jail. I don't mind sending someone off to jail when the evidence supports the guilt. Now, will she go? She'll do 30 days, 90 days, but at least send her off. Okay. The other announcement this week, and this is kind of a wrap up of the week. I'm trying to shove as much together in 40 minutes. The big news is Dan Bongino announces his resignation as FBI deputy director. And a lot of people are saying it's, Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. And it really is not. It's insider talk that Dan Bongino's cancer has returned and that he just needs to spend more time taking care of himself and being with his family. In that he could also do his radio talk show. It's a lot easier, a lot less travel for him. If you look at him, I thought he was back on some sort of steroid treatment because of the bloatiness that he had, and his cancer journey began when he found a lump on his neck. And he didn't think it was, he just thought it was a fatty tumor, and it turned out to be cancer. And a lymphoma type, treatable, but it comes with a price. And if it comes back again, now you got other problems, and I believe that's what's going on with him. That he has his cancer has returned. So we wish Dan Bongino the best. I liked his radio show. I didn't think he'd make a good deputy, but he pushed a lot, and I don't think the agents that worked with him inside the FBI were too keen about him. All right. Minnesota. What can we say? The land of 1,000 scams. Omar defends Mia Lax despite ties to massive Minnesota fraud scheme. And Omar, representative in Congress, Omar fought to start this organization and approved the funding of this scam as well as other scams in her state. She was the one that introduced this legislation. She's the one that fought for it, and she was the one who said these are the people that should be running it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, folks. And this scheme exploited the U.S. Department of Agriculture's decisions to waive many of its standard requirements for federal child nutrition programs during the pandemic, which is just an open avenue for shenanigans. So, including relaxing its requirement for non-school-based distributors to participate in the program. Money went to Somalia, folks. We funded the terrorism that's affecting us today. Omar. She should be dragged out of Congress if found guilty, put up on a wall, and shot. If found guilty. If found guilty. Very important. Very important. If found guilty. I think it was Fox News who first reported the fraud, too, in July. And Kash Patel said at the time one of the worst in Minnesota's history. And as of November 20, as of November 2025, more than 75 individuals have been charged in connection with the scheme. So, and of course, the president said he recently announced a flurry of new actions to crack down and investigate fraud schemes in Minnesota, which he has sailed as the hub of money laundering activity and cited as the basis of his decision to terminate deportation protection for hundreds of Somali migrants. Yep. Now, over $9 billion looted from Minnesota Medicaid programs. That's the allegation from the government. $9 billion. Governor Tim Walz State was behind as much as half of the roughly $18 billion Minnesota has spent since 2018 on 14 Medicaid programs, particularly vulnerable to abuse, may have been siphoned off by fraudsters. And this is according to Assistant Attorney Joe Thompson. Thompson made the remarks as prosecutors announced additional charges in an ongoing investigation and staggering industrial-scale fraud engulfing the state of Minnesota. Now, a lot of these people were Somalian. And there's going to be a lot of people that were not, because money doesn't care. Republican Minnesota State Representative Christine Robbins shortly after she unveiled millions in alleged fraud in the state's assisted living program and identified an individual already indicted for fraud who is still receiving payments from the state, adding to the already exploding fraud scandal in that state. So they have people that have been indicted and they're still receiving these payments. Now, I can understand, because indicted just means you're indicted. You're not charged yet. And you have a right to defend yourself. But when it comes to fraud and money, you might not get your money. You get it in the end if they prove that none of this was true and you did everything, then everything comes back to you. So this was with the assisted living programs that comes amid massive unfolding fraud scandal in the state that has affected a variety of other sectors. It has resulted in calls for the state's chief executive, Governor Tim Walz, to resign, because he was made aware of a lot of this and didn't bother to do anything about it. I didn't mention this in the beginning, and it was one of the things I did miss, and I'm trying to see why I did miss it. Michigan Attorney General under fire for clear ethics violation in handling of cases tied to her wife and Democrats. So the Democratic Michigan Attorney General is under fire from Michigan State House Republicans for a clear violation of ethics over her handling of cases tied to her wife and to a powerful former Michigan Democratic Party official when the Attorney General was supposed to be separated from the inquiries by an isolation wall. I don't know what the hell that means, an isolation wall. This is more... Again, I apologize. I've been so sick this week. Nessel is under investigation, and they've released information that she was doing stuff that she should not have been doing. So, Dana Nessel, in fact, twice on 2 cases that specifically involved individuals that she had a close personal relationship, DeBoyer, who is handling the investigation, said, one being an individual that actually worked on her transition team, and the other also a former treasurer of the Democratic Party of Michigan, as well as Dana Nessel's spouse. So she got a lot of explaining to do on what she knew and what she did, and if she violated her ethics, should be removed. And they said that the Attorney General's office did not, under any reasonable expectation, interview any of the pertinent individuals, Democratic Party leader, her wife, with regards to the case. And they only spoke to one other person, potential individual who committed a crime, then only to close the case, by the way, after the Attorney General violated the firewall. So what happened? She got it, she heard it, put it in the bottom drawer and bury it. So whether or not that is the case, that should come out in more legal filings. And the Attorney General, Nessel, has the right to a fair trial, a hearing, or whatever, to defend her actions. All right. Now, this was coming up now. I said Elise Stefanik, who is running in Congress, state congressperson, no, a congressperson from New York, demands the Governor Hochul reveal how many New Yorkers were victimized by the 2020 Do Not Resuscitate order handed down by Governor Cuomo. Now, during COVID, Cuomo ordered a directive ordering EMS not to revive anyone that had no pulse. So if they rolled up on the scene and the guy didn't have a pulse, they couldn't try to revive him. So former Governor Cuomo demanded that New York State, between April 17th and April 20th of 2020, ordered that instructed New York EMS workers not to attempt to revive patients without a pulse, a policy that the public only discovered through the New York Post. New York Post published it and said, hey, that they arrive at your house and, your husband had a heart attack or your wife had a heart attack or your child was in distress and they didn't have a pulse. We can't do anything. We just got to let them die. Just 3 days later, the order was abruptly suspended after outrage from the public and frontline professionals. I've said this before about Governor Cuomo. He murdered 50,000 people. Running for the mayor, that should have been brought right out in the beginning. All this crap should have been brought out. And he would never have even run, and might have given a chance of some other Republican to get this fucking communist out. So, this is more bullcrap. And at the time, officials justified the drastic measure by claiming it was necessary to protect the health and safety of EMS workers by limiting their exposure amid COVID-19 pandemic. COVID, one of the biggest lies made on Earth. Not COVID itself. There was COVID. There was a virus. There was a pandemic. It was how they were treating it. And unrealistic, untested. And it's all coming back now. One of the things that ivermectin studies have shown that people treated with it did a lot better, had a lot lower death rate than those that weren't treated with it and treated with other medications. So both of these were given 10 pills that everyone else was getting, and then the one group got the 11th pill, And that group seemed to have survived substantially better than the A group. And you're now having Robert Kennedy Jr. coming out with information about all the COVID and the shots and the regimens and how they might be bad for you. You know, at least give you a warning that, hey, people are dying from the shot. Just, you know, a heads up. And you don't give the dosage to a child that you would give an adult. I mean, all this stuff that we should have known. And, you know, people started asking, hey, is this all right? I mean, you're giving it to an adult, giving it to a child now. Oh, we made up a special formula for them. Well, what is it? No, we can't tell you what that is. Don't worry about it. And then young men started having heart problems. Oh, no, that had nothing to do with it. But they were perfectly fine before the vaccine. Oh, well, it's not a vaccine. All right. It's before the inoculation. Well, it's not really an inoculation. It's a therapy. But you told us one shot would protect. Well, it's mutated. Oh, so it's like the flu. Oh, no, it's nothing like the flu. But the flu mutates like a virus, right? Lie to. And for that, I feel people should be taken out, made to explain themselves. And then tied to a post and shot. Funny how this all disappeared, right? Though I believe that even like what I have right now is some form of a variant of COVID. And you get it 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And on the 11th time, it kills you. Regardless if you got the shot. And I know people that got the shots and all of a sudden they started having hip problems and knee problems and shoulder problems. And mostly kidney problems. Every person that I've known down here that was over 70 years old that got that shot has either died from kidney failure or are having kidney issue problems today. I mean, was it COVID that did it, or was it the shot that did it? I mean, both are valid questions, you know? So, the lockdown on that was supposed to, you know, be what, 50 years or 70 years. We weren't going to find out, just like the Kennedy thing. And yeah, by that time, it's so sifted through that you don't know what the truth is. So, COVID is a joke that killed a lot of people. California is running out of gasoline. Expect $8 to $12 per gallon in California. Chevron closed, Valero closed, Phillips 66 closed, Shell, I think, pulled out a while ago. All pulling out of the state of California because they can't do business there. They keep getting hammered by the state. And even California has a special gasoline that's made just for California. No other refinery is going to make it. So, I don't know what California is going to do for gasoline. They import unbelievable amount of gasoline from India and all over Pan Asia. And that's because of the Jones Act. The Jones Act said that anything, petrol or things has to be from America to another American port has to be an American flagged vessel, and very wordy act, the Jones Act. But it restricts imports of fuel from America to America. Because there is no pipeline running from Texas to California for gasoline. There's none of that. None of that exists. And they didn't need to exist because in, Chevron was out there, I mean, it's like from 1879 or something crazy, refining oil. And they had it right there. We didn't need a pipeline. We had the oil, took it out of the ground, trucked it into us, or piped it down, from the fields, and produced fuel. Well, those companies can't do business anymore in California. Newsom and his crew in Sacramento have ruined California. And no one is going to build new refineries. One, it takes years. And no one's going to spend billions only to be penalized every step they take in providing a product. Phillips left and Chevron left. They were paying their engineers hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, and the engineer says, we can't live in California. We can't afford it. Yeah, we're making a ton of money, and it's going out the door. Well, we're no longer interested. We're going to move to Texas. We're going to work for these other companies. We're going to move for your companies over there. They can't get people. So they just pulled up. They said, oh, we're out of here. And now the West Coast will face very hard times, including Nevada, including Arizona, Washington, Oregon. So you don't have to worry about those pollutants anymore, because those companies will be gone. And mark my words, that California is going to chase after them and say the property's been down. 50 miles around these things are super zones, and they need to be cleaned up. No. If I was those companies, I'd be filing bankruptcies in those states and just say, can't do it. Sorry. But California acted like the mafia with the oil companies. And they went as far as to cap their earnings. You can only make so much money. And that's it. You can't do business that way. It's not the way the system works. And that's not the way they should be forced to work. It stifles free enterprise. In California, you got what you got. Good luck with you. In Georgia, the truth has come out on the lying in the election of 2020. Go look it up yourself. Make your own conclusions, but the facts are there. The state of Georgia lied and withheld information. Didn't count ballots, and then counted other ballots, but wouldn't count other valid ballots. And then lied about it. And they got caught. And that's just in that state. I'd love to look in Michigan and Wisconsin. Michigan mainly, the presidential term of Biden will go down as a question mark in history. And there's just no way anyone can say that it was not fixed. I'm sorry, there's just no way. The information's out there, the proof is out there. You want to believe it or not? Don't. but you can't deny facts. And there are more information coming out. So I think I went through everything I said. Representative Stefanik is going to put Hochul in the hot seat because she was, of course, the deputy governor during that time. And I think that Hochul is going to have a very hard time in her election, and that there will be a red governor. And maybe New York could start to recover a bit. Maybe. I don't know. All right, it's been a half hour, and that's all the energy I have to do today. I think I hit everything that I wanted to do. Those oil companies in California represent about 25% of the state's oil production. And you say, well, that's not a big deal. You got to make up 20%. And then on top of the fact that gas stations in that area in California, all of California, had to dig up their tanks and replace them with these fiberglass double-hulled at about $2 million a piece. And a lot of stations just said, well, we'll just close down and stop selling them. They'll sit in the ground, we fill them with sand, and that's it. Done. So I think California's in for some bad times. Electric cars are not. You're in for some bad times. And this was all done with the idea that Biden was going to win, and electric cars were going to be everywhere, and we would force these companies out. And that blew up in their face. Idiots. All right. I won't even, I said I'm not even talking about the shooting at Brown or the shooting in Australia or, what happened to the Reiner family, which was tragic. And but want people to think that if this kid was not a drug addict, would this have happened? And then President Trump going to the extremes that he's doing to stop the halt of drugs into this country, how can you say no to that? How can you say that's a bad thing? Oh, how dare him do that? And you had something like this happen, and a kid that's been in drug rehab for 17 times. And addiction's a horrible thing. And, I didn't particularly care for Reiner, his movies or his political views, but he was a father trying to help his son. And drugs. And people are screaming about President, blowing up boats and killing people. Well, what do you think's happening in our society? What do you think? We've tried everything. Now let's just stop the drug flow. And then if they try it internally here, we at least have a better handle on catching them. But, to call Trump a warmonger and then ask the Reiners what they think about drugs and how it should be handled, I'm sure you'll get a different answer than you did a month ago. All right, everyone, be safe, be good. Christmas is coming. I will try to have a couple of shows out. All depends on how I feel. I really have been feeling bad. This has been a bad week for me. I'm going to get this up as quick as possible. And please expose the Gavi plan to have a 10-year booster plan. Normally, I don't get into state politics, other as long as it doesn't involve the federal government. But since you did ask, I'm going to look it up real. Bum, 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 bum. I think. I'll look it up. Let me see. Oh, that mustn't be the Gavi plan to have a 10-year booster plan. I can't see if that's a question mark, but I'm sorry. I don't see. I'm looking. It must be the COVID booster vaccine. Okay. Gavi has helped immunize over 760 million children, preventing over 13 million deaths worldwide. That's a global alliance for vaccines and immunization. So now I'm reading it here and I get it. I'll have to look into that. I will look into that, and I'll put that in tomorrow's show. Let me just say, we'll look into it. So, yeah, that I do get live response. I don't, and I'm very, very. So I don't follow it because I'm doing it live, and it's live, and I'm recording to edit. So, but I appreciate it. Thank you. So I appreciate that someone was watching and left a message. But the COVID-19 has been a false lie. Not the disease itself, the treatment and the prevention. We're being used as guinea pigs, and there's some other nefarious reason why. Don't know why. And for some reason, they're afraid to tell us. All right. With that, I'm going to say thank you. Give to a charity if you can. If you don't feel like giving to a charity, I could certainly understand why. Please look at a food bank and see what they need. Monetary donations to a food bank goes a lot further than just showing up with cans, which they will accept and are grateful for. But they can pinpoint with money exactly what is needed immediately. Say a prayer. Prayer does work, regardless of what a Democrat tells you. And everyone have a safe, if you don't come back to my show, have a safe holiday and a happy new year. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa. Why not? And take care and be careful out there as I fade to black.